This podcast is intended for entertainment purposes only and contains jokes, satire, and language that may not be suitable for all audiences. The views expressed are those of the hosts and guests and do not reflect the opinions of any employers or sponsors. The stories we share are our version of events. If you believe a story we share is about you and you remember it differently, please, by all means, go start your own podcast and tell your truth. Hey hoes, welcome to the first ever Quickie episode where you get to sit there and listen to Lisa and I talk about the power of authenticity. I'm
I
your
like it.
I'm your host Lisa Wilson,
And I'm Lisa Smith.
and we are your hosts for Gold Star Whores, the Quickie episode. Something that you're going to hear Lisa and I go on and on about is the power of authenticity and how
Mhm.
important it is. I mean, just like every Pinterest title out there, be yourself because someone else is taken. Why are you faking trying to be something that you're not? It's a full-time job, right? I will never be that person.
Yeah.
What do you think, Lisa?
Well, absolutely. You are the best version, and so why try to be somebody else? When I look at some instances of people who always constantly molded themselves to be somebody else or to have characteristics that the new boss liked or whatever it was, that is legit the ick.
So there's a psychological term for that. It's
What is
called a high self monitor. So a high self
okay.
okay guys, I'm going to show off my fancy degrees now, so just get ready. So a high self monitor is somebody who is very aware of how they are perceived by others and will make active changes to either their physical appearance or the way that they talk. And then there is a low self monitor, which is the people like me that do not change who they are. They can't change who they are. They can't help but to be authentic in every scenario. I get this a lot in performance evaluations that your authenticity is your biggest strength and your biggest weakness. It's not like all of our authenticity is different, right? The way that I'm authentic is different than the way that you're authentic. I have people that I work with that for one reason or another need some help. I'm always like, this is how I would say this or do this, or this is how I would respond to the situation, but that is not how you're going to do it. The outcome we want to be the same, but how we approach it and how we talk about it is very, very different because what it works for me is not going to work for you. You're a different
Yeah.
person with different contexts, different motivations, right? It can sometimes be tough.
I think everybody has their own blueprint on maybe how to get from point A to point B. The end goal can be the same. And that is truly the path of authenticity. Showing up as your true self, doing it your way.
Yeah. And so, like, I wish sometimes that I was a high self monitor. If I could just be a high self monitor, we would be in the Caribbean right now. Not everyone can take a low self monitor, especially if you're used to only dealing with high self monitors. And I'm going to give you an example story. I've always tried to have friends outside of work, which can be really weird and awkward when you don't have kids, don't go to church, and don't drink. You're a social pariah on all these different levels, and it's really
No.
hard to like connect with people. And so, especially in like party environments, I
Yeah.
literally will read Google just so I have something to talk to people about. My husband is an extrovert, meaning his glass gets filled up by interaction with other people. I am an introvert where my glass gets emptied by interaction with other people. But in order to stay married and be happy, you've got to compromise. It's always honestly a little painful because
Yeah.
God, I would rather clean the toilet with my tongue than go hang out with people I don't know. It's really painful for me. So I was okay, we'll go. And it's a big party. There's a lot of people there. A lot of people from work are there, and their significant others are all there, and their kids are all there. It's like 100 people, big party. And everyone had kind of like meandered outside, and there was a large group of women, that were still in the kitchen. They were all kind of around like the snack trays, and
Yeah.
it was hot outside and there was a lot of mosquitoes, and I did not want to go outside because of my hair, number one, and number two, mosquitoes. They kind of don't acknowledge that I'm standing there. That's fine. I'm used to that. And one of the ladies is talking about how her daughter is in the military And she's so worried that she's going into this part of the world where it's a very hostile, dangerous part of the world. I'm just shotgunning cheese as she's continuing to talk. And she's just, I'm so worried. She's gonna be in this strange place, and all the other hens are like, "Oh yes, I know." Whoop, whack, whack, whack. And I'm like, in my head, she's in the military. She's a badass. Like, I just think she's worried about nothing. And she was like, "Well, and then what if she has to, wear like a burqa? Like, what if she has to cover her face? And I don't know how she'll handle that." And I was like, "Well, you know, like nuns wear burqas here, like." Kind of. They don't have their face covered, but their whole
Yeah.
bodies are covered. They're nuns here. And I'm thinking because they look like are people that would, go to church. And they all kind of look at me and stop. And I was like, prove your point. What are you talking about? And I was like, well, they have their head covered and they have their whole bodies are covered. Again, this is coming from someone who doesn't go to church at all. And they were just kind of, yeah. And know what I want to know though, like what I've always wondered, and this is true, why don't they dress sexy for Jesus? Like they're married to Jesus, so why don't they want to be hot for Jesus? Like, I don't understand that. If I were married to Jesus and a million other women were married to Jesus, I would be wife number one hotness for Jesus. And they're all just kind of like slowly backing up. Seriously, like, or maybe underneath they're wearing sexy underwear. I heart Jesus panties. Maybe they're
Maybe.
sexy underneath for Jesus. And they are like seriously starting to slowly back away, not laughing, not like horrified, right? And I'm like, well, again, now I feel like I have to make my case. Thomas Jefferson was part of an orgy club called the Hellfire Club where they all dressed up like priests and nuns. So, like, the concept is still true, right? Like, that's what I'm talking about. Like, clearly
More
some
people
people, no,
back away.
literally, they all left me standing there shotgunning my cheese. The dishwasher lady shook her head at me and walked away from me. If I were a high self monitor, I would not have done that, right? But as a low self monitor, I can't connect to these people. I don't know what to talk about. I would rather engage in some way that is more authentic for me. And like, I thought I was being hilarious
That's what
and
I was gonna say. Do you
I
feel
thought I
like
was,
sometimes you move to comedy?
yeah,
Like
I
that
thought I
is
was
how.
hilarious. The little church lady club was not having any of it at all. That is just one of many stories that I have where my social awkwardness has not worked in my favor, right? And it can be very, very challenging, but it's who I am. And
Yeah,
it is fundamentally what I'm about, and I can't change that for anything. What I can do is
as
be
you
more
shouldn't.
aware when you're conversating and talking to people. But you guys, again, this is for our baby gold star whores out there. They're just forming their leadership personalities or getting into relationships that are new, starting new jobs. You have to stay that person forever. So make sure that it's somebody that you really are and that you're comfortable with. And you have to, like, over time, you will learn to have conversations with people that don't end up with them running in horror and talking to all their friends about it probably for the next year of their lives. Sexy for Jesus. Can you imagine? Like lots of like pearl clutching. But it does happen. And I think that you can absolutely be yourself. Like, I can smell a fake. Can't you?
Yeah, oh, 1,000%. And that's why I'm not exactly sure that I enjoy watching people completely reshape everything about their life to fit into a situation. I don't actually find that moving. I don't find
You
that
had a
positive.
boss that made you get spray tans. I
Yes,
mean, that is a perfect
yes.
example of a high self monitor.
And spend thousands and thousands of dollars on clothes, brand new clothes at our expense. And when I'm saying brand new clothes, it's not like a new outfit here or there for a meeting. I'm talking go into debt buying clothes, buying the expensive things, and spray tanning. Like it was like a prerequisite. Did you get your spray tan? What? I mean, yeah, did. No problem.
Hold on, Lisa. I want to just point out to the listeners that Lisa literally had a boss that made her get a spray tan
Made all of us
regularly,
on the team. It
the
wasn't
whole
just me, the
team
whole team.
gets spray tans to stay in the job. So just when you think it's bad out there, unless you have a story like this, and then, oh my God, please send it because I want to hear all of them. I want to hear all of them. But Lisa, I mean, Lisa, that blew my mind when you told me that story.
When it's not authentic anymore and it's not who you are and you're trying to be somebody that you're not. Hey, look, I love a good spray tan. That's not the point. The point is being told that's what I have to do and I have to look a certain way, then it becomes very inauthentic. And it
Yeah.
wasn't me. And that's when I had to leave. So, because I can't go through my life not being who I am, and a lot of people aren't going to like it. And guess what? That's okay
Yeah.
because
They're not your tribe. They're
they're
not your
not no.
people. I think that one of the things about authenticity and genuine, and I know it sounds like a double thing, genuine authenticity, your personal brand to figure out what that means for you. For me, being authentic is, I approach things with humor, right? A lot of times it is not an appropriate time. I found that out the hard way, right? It doesn't mean that I'm not going to do that anymore. It just means that I can't be the same person with every person I'm dealing with, but I can be me. Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally. And I think it took me a long time to like me.
Mm-hmm.
I
I've
think it
always
took
liked
me
you.
well, I appreciate that, but I
Mm-hmm.
haven't always liked me. And I think also because I was judged all the time, judged for my work, judged for how I looked, judged for how I led, judged for how I showed up or didn't show up or whatever. And it was judgment, judgment, judgment all the time
Mm.
in an environment where you never felt good enough. I didn't love who I was for a long time. And I think it took me a while to understand that that's okay if people don't see you, then you move on and you find people who do, and you find people who lift you up when you're trying to do the same.
I know a handful that are just authentically the most wonderful, loving, hilarious, talented people out there. And I feel like they were just born that way. I'm never going to be that girl. I've always had to work for it. And many of us out there have to work for it. Don't be
Yeah.
afraid to kind of find different ways to the end goal, which is to be a happy, authentic, productive person. We all want personal success. I think that people who are authentic have a tendency to do better professionally and personally
Mhm.
because it is when you're faking it and people recognize that, they get the ick, as Lisa puts it, because they don't trust you.
And it doesn't
Trust
always
is
happen right away.
no,
It doesn't always
correct,
happen right away, and so
correct.
those people can be disguised as, like, the rising stars of any situation. They can be disguised as your friend, so they don't always get caught at the beginning, but they will, and it
Mm-hmm.
isn't when you are not authentic to who you are, it will come out.
The mask comes off,
It
right?
does,
And
that's a
I
good
I
way to
feel
put it.
like
Mhm.
it's what you want to build, like, a great career, what you want to build a great life is you want, the people around you who are gonna make you feel like your best self, both at home and at work, and that requires a foundational principle of trust, right? You have to have trust, and authenticity builds trust. When someone is inauthentic, I don't trust them.
Oh,
So I think that that is the power of authenticity is that it gives you the tool to build trust and to build relationships, lifelong, profound relationships with the right people.
yeah.
And ultimately, it's a tool in your toolbox to help you have a happy and a successful professional and a happy and successful personal life as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Yeah,
like that.
I love it. And then with that, we're going to go ahead and say, go have a great week, hoes. We love you, and we'll talk to you next week.
Alright,
Bye.
bye.